Hey, I'll have the sound on in just a second. We're not ready yet. I'm just getting everything set up. So I guess I can leave a mic on so you know that everything's working. Yeah, there should be audio now. You'll get audio here in a second. All right. Okay. So give it just a minute or two. Let some people come in here. Check the sound. Let me see. Let me get your mic on.
Check.
You guys hear Gary?
Greg? Pat?
Did
Greg?
I say Greg?
Gary.
I said Gary.
Man,
Greg.
that's like calling me Hugh.
I was thinking SpongeBob. You know the snail? Gary.
That's messed up. That's jacked up.
That's worse than just saying Gary.
Just say Gary, then you schmuck. Jeez.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Just going to make sure everybody's good on audio. Okay, good. Got audio's good. All right, so what I want to talk about today on today's show, and by the way, please make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. I've already deactivated my account on Facebook. So if you are friends with me on Facebook, the CJ Grisham profile will never be back. So don't look for it. And I'm going to be moving to my blog, which you can find my blog. asoldiersperspective.com is the name of the website that I'll be posting on a little bit more once I have some time to start writing again. And then I'm going to be relying on this YouTube channel. Also, I will be keeping up my public page, but I probably won't be as interactive. I'll be sharing my videos and my blog posts there. So you can still contact me through my page because I'm keeping it up through a different admin. And there you go. All right. So what we're talking about here is Oregon. There's some interesting stuff going on in Oregon. Apparently, the Republicans in Oregon have taken a page out of the Texas Democrat playbook. And what they have decided to do, and I'm going to tell you my position on this. I haven't completely found out whether Greg feels the same way or slightly different or maybe agrees with some of it, but not other parts of it. And I want to hear from you guys as well. And if you want to call in as well, because I would like to take your phone calls to find out, especially if you disagree with me. I mean, to discuss this, you can call. I'm going to put if you refresh the page, it'll have the phone number. There we go. If you refresh the page, it'll have the phone number in the video title. That way, if you want to call and tell me, hey, I agree with you, I don't agree with you. But this has become kind of a contentious thing that I think even those of us on the left, I disagree. I think they're cowards. That's my position. My position is that they've picked if you're going to walk out on something, although I don't agree with this either, but if you're going to walk out on something that's meaningful.
Right.
Walk out on something that actually protects your constitutional rights. Walk out on something that is about liberty. And I understand there are aspects to liberty, but what these Oregon senators are walking out on is a climate change bill. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it going to be expensive? Yes. But my thoughts are this. I was very critical of the Democrats a few years ago when the Democrats ran out because of abortion legislation, I think is what it was.
Was it 2001 or something like that?
You know, you'd think
I'll look it up real quick.
So I was very critical when the Democrats ran up to Ardmore, Oklahoma, across state lines, and was it Rick Perry?
Rick Perry.
Rick Perry sent in the Texas troopers to bring those people back.
It was May 15th, 2003.
2003. Oh, see, I was in Iraq in 2003.
Yeah, you had no care what was going on here.
But I was critical of it. That was wrong. That was wrong. And I called them out on it. Why? Because it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with the legislation. The American people elected senators and representatives to go to the legislature and vote. And you know what? Sometimes we lose. But you definitely don't win or lose if you don't show up and you don't do your job. And so this is where there's a reason that we have this federalist sort of Republican, and I mean little r Republican, form of government. that is that if our legislature fails us, we the people have a means to fix what we don't like. And the way you fix what you don't like is not by your elected representatives running away. It's by changing who your elected representatives are. And if you don't like the fact that Democrats are passing bills that are bad, like these climate change bills that are getting passed, then elect someone else. And if you can't elect someone else, well, the majority rules when it comes to state legislatures, when it comes to senators and representatives. Now, they didn't vote with their feet. The senator's job, they didn't vote for anything because there's no bill. And Sean says they voted with their feet. So what's the point of even having a legislature? If they're not going to be able to vote on things, they just leave.
They only need 2 Republicans to come back to have a quorum.
Yeah.
They don't need every one of them to come back.
But but even still, even if you only have 2 come back, why are any of them? What's the point?
Well, I'll take it even a step further. They need to be held accountable. The people who elected those Republicans in those positions, how do they feel about them tucking tail and running?
Right. Now,
we're being told that the militia is sieging the Capitol. Well, no, it's not. It's not happening.
No.
That's not the reason. So
these are protesters.
These are protesters that are coming there, and they have a right to carry the legal means of firearms that they so desire. But I'll take it a step further. That these people were elected. If I don't show up to my job or I don't punch in at my job, guess what happens? I don't have a job.
Yeah.
Now, these elected officials need to be held accountable. I don't make a distinction between the D and the R past the name any longer because they're all useful idiots. They don't do what they're said they're going to go there to do. They may do it in their first term, but beyond that, they are there for handouts. They're the biggest beggars in the country.
You know, my thoughts are this. Look, either do your job or quit.
That's right.
Period. So if the Republicans don't want to show up for work, then quit.
Leave.
Just leave. Now, what I do support, this is what I do support. So they're gone, and now the governor is talking about sending in the police to force them to come back. I do support the militia protecting them from the police, from the government.
Right.
Because I don't believe they should be doing that either.
Right.
So I don't think that the police should be rounding these people up and forcing them back into the legislative session. And so I'm glad that the militia is there protecting these cowards, but that doesn't make them less of a coward to not show up. The people elected them to go there and do their job. Their job is to get on the floor, and that's where you fight. If you're a senator, you fight on the Senate floor. If you're a representative, you fight on the House floor. And you know what? Sometimes you lose and sometimes you win.
You take your lumps.
You take your lumps, absolutely. And then the people, if the people, you and I, don't like what those lumps are, then it's up to us to do one of 2 things. This is where the ballot box and the bullet box comes into place. So you use the ballot box first, and you get rid of those people that just completely, they're going to bankrupt Oregon, is what they're going to do.
Right.
And people are going to start leaving the country or leaving the state because it's going to become California. That's what it's becoming.
Well, let's be honest. I've got a daughter at University of Oregon. I'm going to say something that may piss some people off, but Oregon's a shithole.
Yeah.
And it's very Republican outside of Portland and Eugene. It is very red outside of those areas.
Yeah. And so if that doesn't work, if the election box doesn't work and government has become so tyrannical that even sending Republicans or libertarians or independents or whoever to stop the statism of the left, then that's where I'm all in support of militias going to the Capitol and laying siege on the Capitol.
Right.
And forcing out their government because people have a right to overthrow a tyrannical government.
That's right.
But it's not tyrannical yet. Because right. the election box, first of all, if the majority of people in Oregon believe that this is tyranny or this is not tyranny, then nothing's going to happen. If the majority of people do, then they're going to get involved. Now, it only took 3% for the revolutionaries to gain freedom for the country. Maybe it only takes 3% up in Oregon, but the way that you fix tyranny is not by running away.
Right. You have to face it. You have to stand up.
It.
And to take into a biblical perspective, Ephesians talks about the whole armor of God. Where is the armor not? It's not on your back. You don't run from that. You face it head on. And it's the same principle whether you believe in God or not, or believe in the Bible or not. You still face it head on, because guess what? They're going to have to face it regardless. Come back, stop being cowards, do your job.
And here's the thing. If this is so bad that the militia feels like they need to do something, then the militia should do something while the Republicans are there. Don't guard the cowards. If you're going to take a stand, take a stand. Do what the militias are there for, which is to fight tyranny.
Because what will the state do? The state will make up something that the militias acted or rudely displayed weapons, and it'll give the state a reason to kill. You got to be really wary of the state. The state is that they will claim superiority and control over the situation.
And this is where the people in the militia, and I'll fix the mic pop. Hopefully that fixes it. I know there's issues with YouTube. It's a YouTube problem because my board is not showing that I'm redlining. So it's a YouTube issue for some reason. But so, for example, video witnesses up here. The comment, I support this walkout by Republicans. In 71 and 2001, Oregon Democrats walked out using the same tactic. Were you okay with that? This is what I have a problem with many on my side of the argument, is because we'll sit there and be critical. Oh, well, the Democrats, they shouldn't be doing that. 2003, when the Texas Democrats did this, I was extremely vocal about it. I hated it. I was pissed off that they were. Now, I was fighting a war, but I was still getting my news. Mm-hmm. And I did not like it. So why is it just because the Democrats do it, I'm supposed to support the fact that Republicans are doing it?
And you notice, folks, I don't think we've even mentioned it, why this walkout happened.
Right.
Do you think it was because of First Amendment issues, a Second Amendment issue, maybe fourth or fifth? No. Why'd they walk out? Why?
Climate change. Climate change.
In a state that you can't even pump your own gas if the county is over 200,000 people.
Yes.
Jeez.
I might be a little more sympathetic if this was a bill to confiscate firearms.
Right. Red flag laws, which they already have.
Red flag laws. I would be a little closer. I still wouldn't understand, but again, that's where the militias come in. We send our representatives there to protect our rights, and they need to fight and protect our rights. And again, that doesn't always work. Sometimes they lose, and we lose. But when that fails, that's when we, the people, need to get involved. Our legislators, guys, this is where I think a lot of conservatives and independents and libertarians aren't understanding. I'm not talking about whether or not this is right. I'm divorcing the militia issue from the legislator issue, the senator issue. The senators have a duty to show up to work.
Yes.
That's what they are paid to do. They are not paid. There's nothing in the Constitution that says if you don't agree with and I'm talking about the Oregon Constitution, if you don't agree with legislation, just go away. Just leave the state.
Nothing in there.
There's no authority for that. Their job is to either show up or quit. And that's what they should do, show up or quit. Now, I do support, if these things get bad, the militia, and I think in Oregon, they're at a point where there should be, I think, an armed response. I think there is a legitimate need for an armed militia to go to the Capitol, but not to protect Republicans, but to protect liberty.
Right. That liberty over security.
Yes.
You lose liberty. Let's look at California. They have lost liberty long ago. My wife talked to one of her friends that she talks to on a regular basis. There was a domestic violence issue from a previous boyfriend. He came into her house. Her boyfriend had an AR-15 in the house. The cop came in, not for them, but for a previous issue the day before, saw the AR-15, took them both to jail on $1 million bond because there was an AR-15, an unauthorized weapon in the house. $1 million.
Wow.
And what does she have? Well, you can file a restraining order. Well, hey, I got a restraining order, Mr. Bad Guy. You can't touch me.
Right.
So what is she supposed to do? And we told her how the laws here in Texas, and I told her, we kind of We complain because we want more liberty, because you can never have enough liberty. I want to get drunk on liberty. That if I'm with my son, walk down the road with an AR-15, she just could not believe it, because you can't even go down and buy ammo anymore where she lives in California. It's just
without doing a background check.
You're seen as a pariah if you even ask.
Yeah.
They'll put you on a watch list.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
And those are the kinds of things that I am all for. If you remove the Republican senators from this equation, I am 100% in favor of the armed people, the militia, taking over the government state house and protecting the people from that tyranny. Because the Oregon legislature, or whatever they call themselves, has become a tyrannical form of government. They have you got the red flag laws, you got the background checks, you got all these regulations on firearms that are unconstitutional. You've got the Fourth Amendment violations. I'm sure you've got First Amendment violations. I don't keep track of Oregon that much. It used to be a very pro-gun state.
Yes.
But in places like California and Oregon, New Jersey, I mean, these are places where I absolutely support. This is why I don't want people to think that I'm in favor of statism, because I'm not. I firmly believe the Oregon Republicans are cowards. The people who are protecting the Oregon Republicans should not be protecting them. They should be protecting the people. You don't protect politicians.
And you know who I'd like to talk to? I'd like to talk to the Oregon 3%ers. I wonder if we could get in contact with them, because from what I'm reading here, these are the same 3%ers, and this is going to ring a bell to you, that helped take over the Mahler National Wildlife Refuge. And if you remember, a true hero died during that event, Lavoy Finicum, that was gunned down and assassinated, murdered in cold blood.
I'll tell you,
those guys are doing it.
The Oregon militia has got the kind of balls that the rest of the country needs to have. They have already spilt blood protecting liberty.
Yes. There's still a few still in jail.
Yes. Despite the fact that they've all been acquitted, but they're waiting on appeals, or even though the courts have overturned some of the stuff.
Right.
So that's why I want to hear from y'all. And I want to know sort of what your thoughts are, if this is something you want to talk about. 866-895-6442. And you can call and give. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me?
And it's okay to disagree, folks.
It's absolutely okay.
This is where it happens right here. This is where discourse happens right here.
What I want people to do is think critically. Take off your I'm a Republican, or I'm a conservative, or I'm a libertarian, okay? And recognize that it's not these are politicians. These are politicians. And it doesn't matter if they normally support you or not, or you agree with what they're doing. Take off. Do you pay politicians to go to work or to go hide? Because they're getting paid right now. There's nothing in their Constitution also that says if they don't show up for work, they don't get paid.
Right.
I know there are rules in the House. There are rules about showing up and what can happen, but there's no laws that say if you don't show up for work, you're not going to get paid. And so what I want people to do is think a little more critically, especially the people that support the Republicans for what they're doing. Why? Because ask yourself this. Let's say there's a bill that would likely pass that allowed for the abolition of all gun laws, right? Because all gun laws are unconstitutional. Let's say that in Oregon, there's a bill that was going to get rid of all Oregon gun laws so that anybody that is free, every free man, woman, and child can carry a firearm legally in self-defense. And the Democrats walked out on that. Would you support that? I don't think that people would support that.
No.
So you've got to be objective about this.
Express your opposition and stand accounted for.
Exactly. And if you lose, you lose. And then that's where we, the people, come in and go, wait a minute, no. I don't like this. I don't like this new climate change legislation. Oh, that my senator, who's a Democrat, voted for it? Well, let's get active and vote against that.
Next town hall, we're calling his butt out.
That's right.
To his face.
So I think the militias are doing the right thing, but for the wrong cause or the wrong people. So don't protect, my position is, don't protect politicians protect principles.
I'd love to hear from one of them. I mean, I would really love to hear maybe their media relations person, if they've got one. That would be fantastic. I'm sure they can't be that hard to get in touch of.
Right.
Lavoie loved talking to people. He gave interviews to whoever wanted them. But that would be fantastic to talk to someone like that to find out why they're doing what they're doing. Because those are real 3%ers. I've met a ton of 97%ers who think they're 3%ers.
Who have the 3% on their vehicle or shirt or hat or whatever.
But when you know that they're the guy in the stairwell in Saving Private Ryan that lets the guy walk right by him. You know, they may kill the guy later, but they've let lots of their comrades die.
And that's where I think people misunderstand my position, because I'm a 3%er and I'm always willing to go to war for principle. But I will never. I mean, I love Jonathan Stickland to death.
Yes.
I love Jonathan Stickland to death. I would never protect him going away to avoid casting a vote.
No way.
Now, I would protect him from the state trying to grab him for doing that.
If Greg Abbott sent the state troopers to go seize him to bring him back, there's no way in hell. Look, take your ass back to your workplace right now.
Do your job.
Don't make the police come get you, because I'm not going to lay hands on you, but you need to get your ass back to work. That's what I'd be telling them.
And look, here's the thing, Oregon. If anybody from Oregon's listening, too many people have taken on this voluntarist, and I'm not going to trash anybody, or anarchist idea that no government is good government, and they're not voting. And I don't care if you think voting is worthless. And I know it's frustrating to lesser of the two evils or three evils or whatever it is. But even if you vote for a guy that stands no chance, like McAfee, if you think McAfee is the guy hiding out in Cuba running for president as an independent, if you think McAfee is the best candidate, don't just do nothing. Go out there and vote for McAfee. I mean, at least you're voting. And is it going to do anything? No. But we have that system. But when the reason these Democrats get in place is because too many of us, and I understand the frustration, because so many people are frustrated with the process. The government is out of control, and so people have given up. But until it's time to take up arms, the only thing we can do is vote.
Right.
And I know
that's all we can do.
It sounds stupid. Vote harder. And it's a futile effort in many cases. But that's the reason why, because liberty lovers are the ones giving up on voting. The people who believe and want liberty are the ones that are deciding, you know what, screw this, I'm done with the system. It's not the statists.
Right.
The statists are still voting.
Oh, they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah. And so even if you are an anarchist or you are a voluntarist, although I think the voluntarists don't agree with government anyway, but at least go and vote. Look at the candidates, vote for the best person. But this is why Democrats are winning in Oregon. So the people in Oregon that have stopped voting need to start voting.
Yep.
And even if you don't vote for a Republican, vote against a Democrat.
Right.
It's that simple.
Vote for what's right.
Vote for what's right. Whatever. It doesn't matter who that is. If you want to put your name on the ballot and you're the only one that gets that vote is you, then do that.
Look, there's 30 senators apparently in Oregon. If it means cleaning house on all 12 of those Republican senators and all of a sudden they've got 30 Democrats, someone's going to ask, what the hell happened? And you're going to be able to, people in Oregon are going to be able to tell them the story. They tucked tail and ran when we told them, look, you're going to lose, but we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay here. Yeah, that's who said to get in contact. Said, I've seen that guy at, I believe he's been to Joey Gibson's rallies.
I can't comment.
You can only message him
and see if I'm gonna contact him real quick and see if we can.
Yeah, there's a lot of great comments on here. Some people say that they don't vote, they never have, they never will, and you know what? Although I don't agree with it, that is your right to not vote. I mean, it's fine. I personally wish more people would get in their local elections, would vote in their local elections, because that's where things help the most, is in your local elections. These national elections, they get all glamorized and hoopla and Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. Yeah, your vote counts in every election, but your local elections, go to a city council meeting. Yeah, they're boring as hell. But let me tell you, you get to see how much of your money your city is spending, that you will not approve of. I'll tell you that right now, and it'll blow your mind.
And I'll tell you this too. For those people who have I've given up. I have given up on the federal government.
Oh, done.
That's I don't even pay much attention other than like
I like watching Trump just because he pisses so many
Yes.
people off.
But my thoughts are I focus all of my energy and time on local and state candidates because those are the people that the states created the republic. They're the ones that created the federal government. The federal government is and always should be subservient to the states.
And the federal government doesn't want you to remember that.
Yes.
They want you to forget that ever happened. They are the king.
And that's why I want state governments to be extremely strong and get involved. So if you're going to vote, you don't want to vote in federal elections, fine. But strengthen your borders in your state.
That's right.
Strengthen your state because your state can hold the federal government accountable. The states can change the Constitution if they wanted to. I mean, the federal government can too, but if you get enough states, that's the power of each state. The problem is we've forgotten that 10th Amendment.
Yes.
The 10th Amendment is virtually, I mean, I know it was destroyed when senators became elected popularly anyway, but
and let me tell you too, I listened to this dolt yesterday on Meet the Press. What's his name? I have to turn around and look. Steve Bullock from Montana. Steve, you'll never hear this, but just in case you do, we really don't care if you say you would never send troops to the border to help enforce border security. If you are even one state removed from the border, we really don't care what your opinion is. Texas can take care of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. Well, forget California, they're done. But we really don't care what you do in Montana because Montana's great. It's a great state. Love to go there sometime, big sky country. But we really don't care that you don't want to send troops. Nobody cares, Steve. So that was my rant right there. I hope that guy contacts you because he could probably, if he's not the right person to talk to, he could probably key you into the right person.
Yeah. And I'm on a profile that it goes to his other box. So if anybody knows Matt Marshall, have him contact, and maybe we'll just do an interview later. Yeah,
Roki, if you happen to have a lead on him or something and if you can drop him a message or something, that'd be fantastic, brother. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because what we'd like to do is we don't want to give out false information or bad information. We want to be able to get it from the head and like to hear what's going on because, man, Oregon they do things a lot different up there. So we need to hear it from the horse's mouth of what's going on. And Matt may be able to provide some insight from that being from Washington.
Yeah. And the basic premise of this video is I really wanted to engage in a discussion about this issue because I just see too many people protecting Republicans in this case because it's on our side.
I laugh at my side when they do that.
I do too, because I just flip the script a little bit. If we talked about this, if constitutional carry, okay, here in Texas, constitutional carry is on the ballot, HB 357. Can you imagine if it went to the House floor and all the Democrats ran away so that we didn't have a quorum? Do you think we would have been, oh, that's their right, they're protecting us from bad? No, you wouldn't like that.
No.
You would not like that. So why would you do it the other way?
Right.
And again, I support what the militia is doing. I don't like that they're protecting politicians, but they should be protecting principles and them, even though there's not an armed militia that's taking over the Capitol. It's armed Oregonians who are pissed off about the fact that they're about to pay another $5 a gallon for gas in the state of Oregon.
And they're pissed because of everything that's led up to this.
Yes. So I guess no one wanted to call and talk about that. I wanted to put my thoughts on the record here. I know I didn't expect the show to be more than an hour, but I thought it'd be about a half an hour, which is where we're at. So unless someone in the chat room there has got a question or you want to call 866-895-6442, 866-89-LOGIC is the number. If you got an old phone with the numbers on it.
Or rotary.
That's
on the wall with a curly Q phone,
Yes.
and you have to take it into the bathroom while you're doing number 2 so your mom doesn't hear.
I have to wonder, I think, so when I was in the military, because I was intelligence, obviously we had a lot of classified information, and the combinations are all numbers. And the way that you remember the numbers is they would have a phone dial pad on the safe. So you would have a code word, and that code word would correspond to numbers on the safe, and that's how you would know how to twist the dial or punch in the numbers. But these days, you have to wonder if the kids even know what those letters are on their phone to begin with.
You know, I was at scout camp for the last week in Colorado, and let me tell you, I'm sorry, Texans, I couldn't bring the 65-degree weather back. But we did have a tornado touchdown on Friday up there.
You did bring some storms last night back.
I apologize. But they had a payphone there at the scout camp, and there were scouts, and I didn't have my phone on me at the time to take a picture. They were standing around looking at it like it was an alien. Like, what in the heck is that thing, man? What? But it did have a credit card slot and no coin slots, so they could do a debit card, because everybody's got debit. Everybody has a debit card now. But they were looking at it like, what in the world is this?
He's saying Lee Schaefer's saying up in Washington it's $3.50 a gallon for gas already.
Well, let me tell you, in Colorado they got me.
It's $2.13 here, Lee. $2.13.
I paid $2.08 in a shithole called Memphis. Do you know anybody that lives in Memphis?
My sister lives in Memphis.
Oh, it's a shithole, and I posted that on Facebook just for her, but I didn't tag her in it. Yeah. I did. I said almost a shithole, and she said that's where I live, and I knew it, but that's why I did it. But I didn't tag her in it.
And my mom lives there now.
Shit, sorry, Miss Christian.
No, it's a crap hole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in Memphis, it was just outside of Memphis, it was $2.08 a gallon. And they had a Taco Bell right next door, so we stopped there and took a break. But in Colorado, they said $2.52 a gallon. You pull into the Safeway to fill up. Well, what they get you is it's 85 octane. Well, here in Central Texas, 87.
Yeah.
So, and the Scoutmaster filled up, and he said he actually got like 2 miles better a gallon, which is weird. I guess it threw the system into a shock in the truck or something. I don't know what it was, but they get you. And then it skipped 87 and went right to 88, and it was $2.93 a gallon. I'm like, man, government screws you any way they can.
Oh, boy. And then you've got that E85, which you think you're getting a great deal because you're paying, $1.79 a gallon?
Yeah, you're just tearing your car up,
and
from what I heard.
And then you're getting 5 miles less each gallon.
Yeah.
And you're tearing your car up at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, Paul, how you doing from the UK? Paul Raycraft is out there watching from the UK. Now, that's a country that's got a lot of liberty issues as well.
Man, I'll tell you, knife laws. I mean, guns are a bygone. I mean, that's, man.
Hey, thanks, Roki.
Man, guns. Oh, yeah, back in my day, that's how they talk about that over there. Now, knives with blunt tips. I mean, it's crazy over there.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and we'll close this out, and hopefully Matt will get a hold of me, and we'll do another podcast. We'll just do an interview with him.
Yeah.
In the future, fellow 3%er there. Roki, make sure he knows I'm a 3%er, and tell him when you get a hold of him to look at his other messages. So when you go up there, click on your message requests if you're not a friend, so that he sees my message. And there's a guy named George Reed sending it on my behalf.
Yeah. He's a fellow patriot. Yeah.
Fellow patriot George Reed. That's the one that
Matt's got his account locked down pretty good, which everybody should.
Steven says, I like the UK, but they don't speak American right.
Isn't that like "G'day, mate"?
G'day, mate.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know.
So let me just close this up with this. The Republicans, they don't need to be doing what they're doing, in my opinion. I respect why they're doing it, and I understand, but I believe that it's cowardly to run away from a fight. You stand up and you fight, even if you're going to lose. Look at those guys in Normandy. They were up against some overwhelming odds. An entrenched German army going up steep cliffs, having to go up steep cliffs. You look at Iwo Jima, the Marines that were attacking the island of Iwo Jima, and I've been there. I've been to Iwo Jima.
15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
Yes, who are running up sandy beaches with entrenched gun placements on a giant hill getting slaughtered on the beach, but yet they fought it anyway. And not every battle is always going to be won. So the Republicans need to show up. And you know what? If they lose, but they lost on their feet.
They don't know the difference between a battle and a war, apparently.
Right. And they're so when I talk about the Oregon Republicans, the cowards are the politicians. The Constitutionalists are the militia and the 3%ers.
Yes.
So to answer the question of this video is the answer is both, depending on which Republicans you're talking about. The militia guy are the Constitutionalists. They're standing up for what's right because the limited form of government is obviously no longer limited. And the cowards are the politicians who aren't doing what they're being paid to do. And I just wanted to make that clear. And again, repeat myself by saying, if the shoe was on the other foot, would you feel the same way? For those of you that say you support what the Republican senators are doing, if the Democrat senators had done the same thing to repeal all gun laws, if the Democrat senators were doing the same thing on a bill that would get rid of driver's licenses so that you could drive without having, if the Democrat senators were running away to get rid of laws that allow that abolish property taxes, and they run away so they don't have to vote on a bill to abolish property taxes or even all taxes. If the Democrats were running away from a bill that cut the size of government by 50%, would you still support the fact that Democrats are running away? I don't think that they would.
No.
I wouldn't. I don't expect you to. All I want from my fellow constitutionalists out here in listening land is to be consistent.
That's right.
Just be consistent. Just because you agree with why they're doing it doesn't mean you should agree with what they're doing, because it's wrong. It's wrong if you're a Democrat. It's wrong if you're a Republican. And that's
It's
my
not always
perspective.
glorious. It's not always going to be sexy. Politics is a greaseball business, and they knew what they were getting into. And if they told you they were going to win every time they went in to vote, sorry, folks, but they lied to you.
All right, let me get to these comments real quick. We're going to close up this podcast. Thank you, Greg, or Proud of Your Freedom. Check Proud of Your Freedom out.
Go follow, go subscribe to my page, Proud of Your Freedom, or look me up on Facebook under Thomas Paine. You'll see a picture of Beto with always anti-fascist, always anti-Antifa. You'll see a picture with Beto doing the loser sign on his head, so look me up on Facebook there too.
And so Steve Mazur says, my great uncle had his backpack shot off at Iwo Jima, said all the Marines thought they were going to die. He was never actually shot in the Marines, but then he owned a bad something in West Philly and got shot. Maybe a bad business, or I don't know. I didn't get that. But so I've got some pictures. Maybe one of these days I need to show you my pictures from Iwo Jima. But you look at this beach is very flat. It's flat for a little ways, and then it's got like steep inclines on the beach. It's not as bad as Normandy was, but they still have to this day. The Japanese consider Iwo Jima a shrine, and so a lot of it, literally, if you walk the beach of Iwo Jima, because normal people can't just go there.
Right.
A tourist can't just go to Iwo Jima.
You have to be invited or something?
You have to be invited, and it's very rare. I only went there because my dad was stationed in Japan. I worked at the Navy Exchange, and I was the security guy for the Navy Exchange. And so, of course, while they were doing an exercise on Iwo Jima with the Japanese military, we opened up a little PX shopette thing so they could buy beer and soda and toothpaste and all that kind of stuff. And I was there as security. And so I got to go. But you walk the beaches of Iwo Jima, and I'm not kidding you, there are still helmets, rifles, emplacements. There's ships that are still there on the ocean bed where it's shallow, and you're not allowed to pick anything up. But you can actually look at helmets that were shot that still have bullet holes in them.
Oh my gosh.
And I think if you tried to pick them up anyway, they'd probably disintegrate because some of them were rusted, but those things are all still there. It is left exactly the way it was when everyone left Iwo Jima after World War II. And they never policed up the beach or anything. And so just to be there and see, I took a picture from inside one of the Japanese machine gun nests, And it makes your heart sink. That can you imagine being a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, and that ramp drops down, and all you see is a bunch of Japanese up here in very well protected flashes, well protected barricades and bunkers. And then they had, of course, all their trails and tunnels and all that stuff all throughout the island.
See, that's when I have a problem when our politicians call themselves leaders or refer to themselves as leaders. The people who fought on Iwo Jima, those are leaders and heroes that made this country great and continue. Did we live on the things that they did to make this country great?
Yeah. So, Stephen, my hat's off to your grandfather if he's still alive. My grandfather fought over Germany, didn't fight over in the Pacific. He was an Air Force guy. But all right, folks, you guys take care. Don says, since I retired from the military, I constantly dream about all my missions. I do the same thing, actually. I had a dream Saturday night, a weird one, and I woke up in sweats. It's really weird. I hadn't had that in a long time. Crazy, 50,000 laws against us, still only a few of 27 that protect us. That's the problem. Yes, it is. Thanks again to Proud of Your Freedom, Greg, for being here on my podcast today.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching and listening. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel. Click that notification bell so you know when I'm going live. I have heard that even if they do that, a lot of people still aren't getting the notifications. I'm being kind of shadow banned. I want to do more of these, folks, and I actually want to do more on the street type things. And so I want to raise some money to be able to do kind of remotes and get some good camera and mic equipment. If you can click that little $ down there or just send a PayPal to CJ at cjgrisham.com. I've got a lot of great stuff coming up. I'm actually going to be traveling shortly. I will be talking about that later because I'm off to law school here pretty soon.
Almost let the cat out of the bag.
I almost let the cat out of the bag,
yeah.
But I'm getting ready to go to law school here pretty soon. And I can't wait to start suing government agencies and agents.
Yes.
For violating their rights. I'm going into the civil rights world, and I want to specialize in the one right that doesn't seem to be used in the courts, and that is the 9th Amendment. When we talk about the right to travel, I believe that's a 9th Amendment issue, but we haven't fought that under the 9th Amendment. And I think there's a lot that the government does that violates our 9th Amendment rights that we need some case law for. And so when I go to law school here shortly, I plan to really try to hammer down on that and make that the focus of my studies and my practice in 3 years when I graduate from law school.
So let's get those 9th Amendment auditors going.
Let's get those 9th Amendment auditors going. And you can help me in that by, again, PayPal, cj@cjgrisham.com. When I'm doing these live podcasts, there's a little $ at the bottom. You can click on that and send a quick $1
Do you have Patreon?
I think I have Patreon.
You have to find out what your link is. And
I think it's patreon.com/cjgrisham. Let's see. Patreon.com/cjgrisham. Let's see if that's right. It might be Chicken Hawk. I don't know. Oh, yep, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, you got to put that link in there.
Patreon.com/cjgrisham. You can do that as well, and I'll figure out how to make that a little bit better. Oh, I have 2 patrons.
There you go.
I didn't even know I had patrons.
Hey, $12 per month. Look at that.
I need to reach out to these people.
Man, that's like a Subway.
That's $6 a person, so it doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
All right, I'll learn. I'm new at all.
And even when he goes on his trips, folks, you can, he's feeding homeless. I mean, you get a couple bucks to get that chicken sandwich or that $7 milkshake.
$17 for a homeless guy.
$17.
I should have just given him $5 for his crack. It would have been cheaper. Good golly, everything was so expensive in New York. Maybe I'll have to do a podcast.
But that was some great videos, though. If you guys didn't have a chance to see it, go back and watch the videos. It was great New York City videos.
All right, take care, guys. Be safe. Be free. God bless America.